What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology retold action in the left-hand corner of the map, playing as Poseidon. He is one of the children of the Matrius school of Poseidon. There's actually a couple of people in that school. His name is Mosca, and he is here to take on the Mammoth, the Titan, the King himself. It's King Chemo. And he's going to be playing some Nu Wa for us today in the red color. Now, I'm just going to go out there and let you guys know. I am absolutely pooped. I used every ounce of my energy today to play some sport, to play some sports ball. And not only did I use every ounce of energy, we lost. So, now we're going to enjoy some Age of Mythology together. Over on this left-hand corner of the map, we've got Bow of Artemis. Up on this side, we've got Tower of Cestus here. Over on this one, we've got Tex of Imhotep, minus 10% building time. We got the Zhurang here as well, with the plus 10 regen rate for your walls. Up on the top side over here, we've got Bridle of Pegasus, the most map hacky cheat code relic in the game. Absolutely love it. And Girdle of Hippolyta. On top of that, Chemo is getting himself his Klaufu Chieftain out. He's also used his creation God Power to get a little bit more food income early, so he can advance quickly and get himself his second town center. That's generally what we see from this. As he's moved over onto this side as well, he's going to be going for a little cheeky bit of wood as the Klaufu Chieftain is out. He's still going for some more stuff. We are seeing the old Hermes coming through from Mosca. I have been hearing a little bit of chitter-chatter about this and people saying, you know, maybe Poseidon, it's better in this matchup to go for the Ares because you know you're going to be wanting to build yourself hoplites anyways. One of the main units that China's got access to that completely shuts down cavalry is the halberdier. So when you're playing against, say, Egyptians who have spearmen, they're pretty good, but they're not halberdier. When you're playing against Atlantean, they're making catapultis. You can't really go full Hippias into those either. When you're playing against China, they've got the halberdier. When you're playing against Norse, they've got the herdman. Now, you can sort of do it against Norse and go for full Hippias, but you need to back it up with Centaur as well. When you're doing this against China, unfortunately, you're facing up very early on against the Pioneer ranged hero unit, which does make that Centaur a little bit harder to use. Obviously, with perfect micro, if we were an AI and would never get hit by those arrows because you could just dodge them all the time, then sure, Centaur OP. But that's not the case normally. Not only that, there's also this Klaufu Chieftain here who's going to wander out and look menacingly at this Centaur. Good control from Mosca thus far as the villagers getting pushed off at this position. Up onto the top side, the villagers going after a hippopotamus. Taking some big damage as the hippopotamus getting in on the action here. Oh, I must say, Chemo did juke this. I don't think he did it on purpose, but the villager went and did some Neo shit there as it survives, and Chemo's going to be happy about that. He's getting himself another Klaufu, probably looking to get that town center fairly shortly. A couple of the stray pigs over here. I think this must be starting to... Chemo might be creating a new term. Chemo might be creating a new term here. We've got the Chemo walls. We've got the Chemo market. If you don't know what these are, then ask around. I think now we've got the Chemo pigs. Well, it's short-lived as they all get stolen back, and Mosca's going to take those back, I'm sure. Never mind. Yes, he is. There he goes. As the Mosca town center now coming up, and he is very happy to do this. Gets a little bit of damage done, but not really a whole lot. One thing that I think is a relatively decent idea against Nu Wa, and I could be wrong on this. I'm still trying to work it out for myself. So whenever I say all this stuff, it's definitely just theory crafting at the very best. The Sneaky Bros! Thanks for the prime, man. Ah, it's been a hot minute. I remember we did a cheeky collab way back in the day. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Go check out his YouTube channel. I'm not sure if you're still doing YouTube or not, but if you are, go check it out, everyone. Got some good stuff up there. Nonetheless, let me go on with my rant. I'm not sure if this is good or not. It might be terrible. But I feel like the idea for Poseidon to actually open up with a handful of Hippias. Oh, the dodge! And, the dip! And the dodge! He's out of there. I think the idea for Poseidon to actually not go for a naked second town center like we saw here from Mosca, and actually go for a stable or two, it makes him Hippias and force some idle time, get some villager kills against what Nu Wa wants to do. It makes some sense, because if you're going for that naked town center, you're probably not going to be able to deny the town center, but if I can pick off like 5, 6, 7, 8 peasants and then drop my own town center, I feel like that's a good idea. I feel like you can definitely get something happening here, but Mosca just says, hey, I don't want to deal with an earth wall on this day. I'm going to try and get my economy going straight for 3 town centers here. One sort of large weakness for China, which I think does go a little bit unnoticed, is their scouting, while amazing at like movement around the map. You've got a couple of pioneers in your army and you want to decide whether or not to make a move with them. You can send those sky lanterns, but they are really slow. 4 speed. That's your scout. A 4-speed scout. Say that 3 times fast. This guy can't really get a whole lot done in terms of actually seeing what's going on here. So Chemo's not going to know that there's a town. Never mind. Yes, he does. I don't know exactly when he saw it, but he saw it. Which probably means he'll decide to go for a Mythic Age here. I could be wrong though. Stable coming up over here is the pioneers getting in for a little bit of fun times here. I'm pretty sure the Atalanta by herself beats all 3 of these pioneers. But one stable up. Part of me also feels like you don't... I mean, at this point when... Well, look at this here for Moscow. I absolutely love this. At this point for the... For the Poseidon, you really don't want to go that heavy onto stables, onto Hippias. Just a couple makes a lot of sense, because it could force... Or it could bait the Nu Wa player into building a whole bunch of halberdiers they don't really want to build. But mostly, you want to get these just so that you can prevent those pioneers from doing anything. And then you want to go into that premium comp of Hoplite Peltast. Why Hoplite Peltast against China? Well, the Hoplite are going to be great against any sort of cavalry. The Peltast are going to kill everything else off. And you might be able to also transition into those pacifists as well, which can be very, very good. Which brings me back to that main point of maybe it's just better to go Ares here. Like I said, unlike against Norse, who don't get a ranged hero, the Centaur Hippias works. But against Atlantean and against China, it almost makes sense to go Ares here, just on the fact that you get access to stronger infantry, which is basically what you want to be building. I could be wrong there. I'm sure that some Poseidon mains out there are going to completely disagree with me. But anyways, second town center up for Chemo. Heroic Age now in. He's got that forest protection. Obviously, Chemo here is prioritizing that Heroic Age over the 3rd town center. It's interesting because he also rushes out Bowsaw, and I imagine he also wants to get himself Shaft Mine as well. So this is an interesting point. I wonder, mathematically speaking, how much this actually does affect. Like, at the moment, Chemo's got 23 wood gatherers. So it says 10 here, but he's got a whole bunch of Quaofu here. So that 24 gatherers. And if you get an extra, what is it, 15%? If you get an extra 15% on that, that's a hefty number. If you get an extra 15% here, that's 30% extra. All of a sudden, those villages are working overtime. And while you're behind on villager count, you got all the upgrades over your opponent until they themselves get to the heroic age. So while maybe, just maybe, a 3-town center fast heroic versus a 2-town center fast heroic, the 3-town center is going to be the one that's superior. But if you stay in this classical age for a little bit too long, you know, it makes some sense to just, you know, delay your stuff just a little bit, get your upgrades, and kind of be okay. I don't actually know, though. Someone out there who's very, very smart at math, not like me. Can you work it out for me? Yes, please. Thank you very much. As the very quick and powerful White Horse Cavalry now in, going to be looking for some big raids here as the villagers coming over onto this side to get some walls up. And Mosca, dip, dive, duck, dodging away. Keeps all these villagers alive for the time being. Wouldn't mind seeing him try and get the wall back up while those villagers are behind. As now Dionysus to come through. Could be an idea to also go into Prodromus here to deal with the White Horse Cavalry. They're going to be very, very powerful. Nice Mosca reacting to this raid nicely. Going to be pulling back into his town center. He does lose one villager as the villagers underneath the town center are going to have to run for their life as well. Oh, does he get the kill? No. No. He tried to cheat death, but death was not cheated. All right, into the main base. Some nice little ghost buildings coming up here for Mosca to prevent these White Horse Cavalry from really getting in here. Chemo is looking for all the potential damage he can get, but there's really not a whole lot at the moment. As up onto this side, Chemo breaking through the wall on the front. More White Horse Cavalry to come through as the Gong Gong is now on the way here for Chemo. So a very quick Mythic Age. I mean, Mosca going for 3 town centers. This is effectively what you're asking for. Like, oh, this is a little bit of that, like, why do we watch pro play and it's so there's so much less aggression than in like maybe lower levels? Well, part of it is a little bit of a handshake agreement in a way where it's like, yeah, they both could play aggressive, sure. But if one player goes for a town center and the other player goes, you know what? I'm okay with this. Then they go for a town center as well. And then they go, wait, you're going for a town center? Well, let me grab another one. Do you want to attack me now? And they say, no, I don't. So it's a bit of a handshake agreement to some degree. So that's why we see these sort of very quick Mythic Ages. But Mosca is going for a lot of units at the moment. He doesn't have to deal with Fey Beast because Forest Protection is in. But he will have to deal with Great Flood, and it is a very powerful technology. I'm sure we're going to start seeing some Chuko Nu coming through. All the machine workshops are up. Forest Protection gets dropped down. And this does mean now maybe Mosca can go for a different angle to attack something. We've got the Artemis queued up now for Mosca. So those White Horse Cavalry coming up to the top side. This is definitely the time where I'm like, I think I should get Prodromus out. Like, the hoplites are all well and good to actually fight those White Horse Cavalry, but you can't chase them. So maybe getting the Prodromus here is a pretty good idea. How much speed? They're 6.6. Prodromus, I think, is 6 speed naturally without Spirited Charge. Is that right? Yeah. So you get Spirited Charge and you make those Prodromus, and they're as fast as those White Horse Cavalry at the moment. Nonetheless, a fortress now up for Mosca. And he could start thinking about getting some siege in here. I don't mind this. If he can get some walls up and like set up on this spot to start sieging this ballet. However, Chemo now in the Mythic Age. He's got that China Mythic Age as well. But, you know, you're playing against Greek. And Greek's army can be very, very powerful. Even if it doesn't have Athena. Even if it doesn't have Ares. So this could be very, very big. That's true. You don't even need the upgrade with Poseidon. Even more reason to go for Ares rather than Hermes. Because you get the extra speed. They're not just 6 speed. They go up to 6.4 speed? Or something? Anyways. Nonetheless. Great Flood gets dropped down. As the hoplites pushed into the main base here. Most of them are going to be actually surviving with a whole bunch of HP. Ceasefire here wouldn't go astray. One ceasefire right at this moment would not be a terrible idea. Just on the fact that, you know, get your heroes out, got all your stuff out, you're going to Artemis, you get some more time here. don't have to fight against those champion horse cavalry. However, taking the L on the fortress here means a whole bunch of militia to come out and support. The question is, where are Mosca's heroes? He's got 0 heroes out at the moment. He needs them. He's got 114 favor, ready to get his heroes out now as Theseus comes through, Atalanta and Hippolyta on the way. Atalanta will be able to be finished up on this spot here. There's a couple of those Peltasts sitting, waiting in the wing here for the moment as the Chukonu will come through. These champion Tiger Cavalry, they pack a punch. They're really, really powerful, but the Hoplites will be beating them, most likely. Nonetheless, Qinglong back in, getting that damage done. As the Hoplites just retreating back, the heroes trying to push forward, but immediately the stun coming through as Mosca poking a little bit onto the dragon as the unit's going to be retreating back ever so slightly here. All the units in the world queued up as champion infantry, champion archers on the way. Already iron weapons, iron mail coming through, as well as that copper weapons as well, as the Qinglong raining, I was about to say fire, but raining water down onto, literally raining water down onto all those dudes there. But Hippolyta in, snipes down one Qinglong. We do have that upgrade, Rising Tides, for the Qinglong, as it looks like Chemo's plan here is to pump those out. Makes a lot of sense. Very, very powerful Mythic Age myth unit there. As the huge stun coming in yet again from Li Jing. As Mosca sitting, waiting, watching. Seeing what he can do for the time being. Population-wise, it's very, very close here, fighting underneath fortified town center and a fortress. Mosca trying to snipe those Chukonu from afar here. He's got to make sure everyone's getting targeted in, as we do have a big earthquake down onto this position. We'll be taking out the fortified town center, maybe? I don't think he's got the upgrades to keep it alive, so it should go down. No? 78 HP. He has fortified town centers and masons. There you go. 70 HP remaining. You've got to get a little bit more damage in to actually take that out. Probably would have been worth it to just take out the ballet with the forest protection there. But nonetheless, Chemo's army here is managing to break through ever so slightly onto this position as more hoplites coming through. We've got Polyphemus now out. Chemo pulling ahead on score ever so slightly. That's Chemo's Qinglong now going for those brutal raids. Does so much damage onto the villages and everything else there. Does Nu Wa have a building bonus? No. It's a normal town center, I believe. Anyways, Polyphemus into the fray here, getting some big damage done. As those hoplites ready to surround the champion Tiger Cavalry. Dealing with them all. Kind of. The fact of the matter is that it doesn't look like Chemo's army is that big, because he's got 3 pop units here in the champion Tiger Cavalry. He's got 3 pop units in these heavy Chukonu. I think that might be the only unit that is a little confusing as to why they are 3 pop. Like, I get it from like a game balance perspective, but they're so small. But anyways, you have to imagine that these Chukonu are basically chariot archers. So there's just a lot of them here. There's so many of them here. 19. Imagine them being 19 chariot archers. That's a scary army. As Chemo does get the Zhuan Wu in, gets a dock down somewhere as a ceasefire gets placed down. Now, Mosca still has access to bronze. If he can get a full army out, click bronze and push through, should be able to win a fight here. But Chemo is pulling further and further in front. The big advantage that Chemo's got here is simply that he's got fully upgraded units. Mosca, on the other hand, just simply doesn't. Now, this could all have just come down to the ordering thing from Chemo. Chemo having a little bit of knowledge here, 2 town center into the heroic age, into those upgrades, just better than the 3 town center. We'll take a look at the resource graph afterwards. But nonetheless, Peltast sniping Deuterinos down from afar. But Chemo's army is still just happily hanging in here. Bronze gets dropped down. I don't know if that was clicked onto... Oh, there's some units down here. I don't think that was clicked onto everything here. As Hippolyta does come out. Polyphemus in at the moment. Now starting to throw those big boulders. How much damage does he do with the boulder? Takes him so long to shoot. Okay, that's a lot of damage. He definitely works. Nonetheless, Hippolyta in. He's got to finish off that Qinglong above here that's flying as the hoplites to come through. We do have that Secrets of the Titans tech coming in. This is just going to show how well Chemo is trading at the moment and how far in front he is on tech. As the heavy siege crossbow taking down the town center. Her blessing gives extra favor, does it? I guess so. There you go. The more you know. I'm still learning. Watchtowers coming up all over the place. Part of me's feeling like maybe if Mosca had gone for... He does have the poison arrows. This will help him out now, but maybe if Mosca had gone for Hephaestus here against Nu Wa rather than the Artemis, maybe he would have been in a better spot, but nonetheless, he's trying to push back here for the time being. Another Qinglong on the way. The town center at 21 HP and now ends up falling. The militia popping out to help just a little bit. They will be champion militia, I believe, but still going to get taken down incredibly quickly from those Shuko Nu. Little known factoid as well, I believe these Shuko Nu at 20 damage per second versus 9.5 damage per second, that's exactly right. They are actually out DPSing the Toxotes. So you do need to go for Peltast here. 110%. Peltast, very, very important. Plus, with these white champion... Wait, what is happening with these guys? Do they get extra... Oh, they've got this thing. Anyways. Effectively, your damage here from the Toxotes, I think it's negligible against the champion Tide Cavalry versus the Peltast, right? I think you... Santana does manage to complete, repairing it back up. There is room for another ceasefire here if Mosca wants, but realistically, he's got to be worried about a Titan because that's going to be able to break through everything here. Chemo has started the trade route. This isn't the Chemo trade route. We were talking about it earlier. The Chemo trade route is back here. In the back corner, behind his base, going to like his main town center or something. It's the town center just barely staying alive here. Chemo not able to really... Neither player actually able to stay at full population for the time being. As the Polyphemus coming through, the Hippolyta also coming in yet again, attempting to hold. But in that moment now, Chemo has to pull back. But he's got a big fat bad boy and he's wandering in. Now, can Mosca deal with this or not is the big question. He does have poison arrows on the Toxotes. That's a big bonus versus that 80% pierce armor. Every single arrow is going to be doing 1.5 damage per second. It's obviously over time, but that damage is going to go through 110%. All the heroes here, very powerful against a hero as well. But if Chemo just decides to send an entire population of army here forward, that's going to make all the difference. And not only that, the Titan is going to be able to clean up these archers if Mosca's not careful. It's coming forward, huge amount of damage, and everyone gets stunned as they get sent flying. All the Toxotes falling. You got to be so careful against that Titan with that army, as the heroes have to start looking to block in onto this one. Another huge amount of damage as he clubs those archers back yet again. Mosca desperately trying to hold on, getting himself out the Polyphemus. He's going for a transport ship as well to try and get in onto this trade route. I like that idea as the ceasefire comes in. But that also gives Chemo more time to get things set up as well, remember. Taking a look at Chemo's favored land at the moment, he can literally just pump buildings up in here if he wants to. Also, another idea would be, well, during ceasefire, that slows down the... I believe it slows down... construction. Wait, does it? Hang on, I gotta watch this. I thought it slowed down the construction of like towers and hill forts or towers and castle type buildings, but I think it slows down everything. I didn't actually know that. There you go. The more you know. I could be wrong on that. We'll have to check that out. All construction, yeah. There you go. Anyways, the Titan going after the town center now will allow those Peltas to get in onto the backside of those Chuko Nu, but Chemo at the moment is starting to look very, very powerful at this moment. As the town center will fall, there will be some militia to come through. Mosca holding at this point is going to be incredibly tough. As the Quaofu coming through, look at the speed at which 2 Quaofu build a tower. This is like having 6 villagers here to build this, by the way. I do wonder, do 6 villagers build a tower in 6 seconds? Obviously, it'll be 6.5 villagers because you've got the auto build feature from Nu Wa. That's very quick to get those towers up. Nonetheless, Chemo cleaning everything up over onto this side. And Mosca looks like he is crumbling under this. He's still sitting at full pop now, but now Chemo can start grabbing the town center on the front. He's still got to do 22,000 damage onto that Titan to be in any semblance of equality here. Potentially getting himself up his own Titan here could be a way forward. But where would he be able to get it up? I mean, he doesn't even have the Divine Blood, so it's not going to go up, not going to be able to build it that quickly anyways. But even so, I don't know if it's enough, given the population deficit currently, economic deficit as well. The units are pumping out, though, for Mosca. He's got everything queued up. A little bit behind on how many military buildings he might want to have at this point in the game, but he has lost quite a few from this Titan breaking through and everything else. And Chemo is more than happy to continue taking these positive trades as his resources are skyrocketing. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chemo attempting to get a wonder here. He's got the wood for it. But does he? Is it 5,000 or 3,000? Anyways, he's got the resources coming in very, very quickly here. As Mosca not able to stay at population, having a very, very difficult time to move forward. And it looks like Chemo will be finding a victory in this game as the trade route getting poked in onto. No gold mines. Well, there is this gold mine. No gold trade route. No, well, he's got 1,000 gold as well. But nonetheless, losing this trade route and continuing to have to take these trades is very, very tough. More towers coming up for Chemo. The trade route now moving up onto this side. And there is our standard trade route here from Chemo. The Chemo market is in all across the map. This is probably better than a corner trade route to his back town center. But anyways, the dub there for Chemo with the Nu Wa. I will let you guys in on a little secret. We're going to be watching this matchup once again, Mosca versus Chemo, straight away. So let's just jump into it. Let's not play around. It's time for Nile River. I'm not doing any analysis on that. You guys can tell me what you think. We're going to be continuing this one as we watch another game in the same matchup and see if things are going to be any different here or not. 2 matchups, 2 games. We see how these guys are going to adapt to what's happening. As Mosca is on the bottom of the map. We're on Nile Showers now. A very different map to whatchamajigget. Marsh. There we go. It came to me. But a map nonetheless. Chemo here, he's going to be doing a very similar thing. He does actually drop his silo down on this side. This might just be to get the favor in. Like, maybe. Let's have a quick look. He is getting a little bit of favor here and a little bit of favor over here. Getting himself the gold he needs. A cheeky little house coming down, trying to get all the favor. Another silo to come down, even though he doesn't need to necessarily drop this one. He just wants all the favor in the world to come through. He realistically could have dropped another house, but nonetheless, it's not a terrible idea to have this silo on that spot. So what's going to be different here? Now, Mosca, on a map like Marsh, might feel like the map is a little bit too cramped. Maybe you can't get any early game damage in. But on a map like Nile Shallows, things might be a little bit different. For example, taking a quick look at the main base. Chickens, berries. Wood is really far away from the town center as well. Very raidable. A lot of options. A lot of options for Mosca to get in and get damage done with. Not only that, he's also got the hippopotamus here that he can drag into his town center, and he can save this lure for the classical age, which is nice. You get an extra 100 food of actual hunt, and you get an extra chicken. So that's like 200 extra food just for holding onto the lure if you can. It might seem like not very much, but in the grand scheme of things, 200 food means you don't have to move for maybe like 20, 30 seconds, depending on how many villagers are gathering from the food position, maybe even a minute. And that means you're going to be able to hit something a little bit harder on your opponent than otherwise. So it can be a very, very big deal. And also, given that the villagers are going to be spawning straight out of the town center into the hippos early, it means he can hit this very, very quick advance time. It looks like he's going for it as he advances through Hermes. And it's going to be a 330. So you can go for 315, which I also do really like. A nice 315 advance. On the left side here, let's check out some relics. We got Shenong's Okra Whip, a little bit of farming increase. I've talked about this one before, but let me just zoom in. Let's get close to this relic, just in case people don't understand exactly how insanely good this relic is. This relic in the Mythic Age is giving plus 15%. Plus 15% onto your farms if you add flood control. That is effectively having an extra upgrade on your farms. As opposed to, I wonder if there's another one. I've got Scarab Pendant here. Pelt of Argus. One day you get both of the relics to be absolutely insane. Jurang. As opposed to one of those other relics, which is a 10% boost. Like, I can't remember what they are, but the mining relic or the farm relic, right? They're just straight 10%. So better for the early game, but obviously not as good for the late game. As Atalanta are out, and we do see a stable this time from Mosca. So he is going for a little bit of early game pressure, and I love this, because I think this is exactly what you want to go for. Because here's the thing. The Naked Town Center from China is very similar to the Naked Town Center from Egyptian, in that you can go for it. You'll probably get the town center up, but you're probably going to lose 3, 4, 5 villages straight up. And then there's also Hippias to go and raid all the other resources, so you can deny everything, and then you can get the town center a little bit later. It does actually look like Mosca... Oh, never mind. Maybe Mosca's going for the town center first. I'm a little disappointed in this. I would love to see him go for a little bit more early game pressure. Like, there's just so much stuff. We see... Chemo is in the kitchen. He's saying, yo guys, I got something. I've been to the French bakery down the road. I got my croissant and it hit me different. It said, Chemo, try one town center China with Nu Wa and see what happens. He's cooking it up. He's getting himself out. Halberdier. He's got the fire archers coming out as well. And he's moving across the map. However, he has not scouted the town center going up in the center of the map here. He has not scouted it. He does see the heroes moving over here, so he might decide to make a move onto that. As into the main base, villagers getting pushed back. This could have all been done because of this bait from Mosca going for one stable. This could all just be a reaction or an overreaction from Chemo. Mosca with the metagaming to some degree. Put a stable down, only costs 70 wood, no worries. And then call it a day. As the Cheongchi here, going to be getting taken out. The town center is up. Him has got to be thinking something is going on here. Is he still building units? He's stopped production of units for the time being, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's not building them. Looks like he's getting himself the chasing the sun tech so he can build a whole bunch more buildings quickly. Specifically the settlement, I guess. There's a stable coming up. Onto this position. Villagers retreating back. Halberdier to come through. Fire Archer also on the way as the heroes have to pull back underneath the tower for the time being. Three stables now coming through here for Mosca. But he just needs to be careful here. He actually still has a hippopotamus over on this side behind the tower. Doesn't actually have to eat these chickens if he doesn't want to. Chemo knows that there's a town center here, so he knows he has to get some damage done or something. Like, he can just go for 3 town centers here and sort of call it a day and try and just use the Quao Fu shenanigans to get him going. There's the villagers pulling back, but Chemo just spacing nicely for the time being, and he does drop the town center. Mosca's already going 3 town centers. Mosca says, I see your 1 town center Nu Wa, and I raise you 3 town centers. With no safe gold mines, his home gold mine open for the raids. This is terrifying. If you're Mosca and you're doing this and you think this is going to work, I feel like he's praying at the moment. I feel like he's praying. He does have the opportunity to try and steal this gold mine here. Maybe get some gold out of this gold mine as well. There's a centaur through now for Mosca. I mean, he can probably actually take down some of those halberdiers from range. 12 range versus 14. Maybe not. He gets a good sneak in. It could be the way to go. Now, does Chemo spot the other town center? Answer is not just yet. He is checking out the gold mines all over the place. Has one Xiongqi over here. Has got a handful of units on this gold mine. Has not checked this one out as that's starting to get mined there. As Mosca still trying as the centaur to come through. Oop, slides against the overcommitment. Running close to those pioneers is so dangerous. They'll take them out incredibly quickly as Chemo's now. All right, time for a town center. So after all is said and done here, once this town center finishes at 25 seconds remaining, it looks like Mosca is going to have a 50 let's call it a 10 villager advantage, which is a hefty advantage out of the early game. Chemo tried a little something, got a little bit of damage done. And while it is a 10 villager advantage to some degree, that's actually going to get erased if Chemo just simply continues to build himself Quao Fus out. Because the Quao Fu builds in 30 seconds and it is worth 3 villages. So even if you're behind with China, you can always catch back up. As the Xiongqi here does end up getting sniped down, Chemo spots the town center and he's going to have to think, all right, what's next? These units here for Chemo. They did move away from the gold mine. Looks like they missed out. Yeah, they completely missed it here. But he will be spotting a couple of villages on this spot. So a little bit of kills here is going to go a long way. But nice reaction there from Mosca to pull back immediately. As he's moved. Wow, he's just literally all over the map. Walls starting to come up now for Chemo as... This is almost more dangerous for Mosca now because he sneaks into the back. The dodge. The dip. He's trapped. He can't get out. He can't get out. The Quao Fu. One centaur down. The big boulder of doom. Well, that's one way to go about it, but the centaur can run out the other way, so they should be able to get out. Could turn around and kill off those halberdiers as well if he wants to. As Mosca's going in now for Hoplite Hippias for the time being. Couple more walls up to the top side over here as well. More Centaur to come through here for Mosca. And there's the heroic age now in for Chemo going through Goldmang. There's walls coming up onto this side. Villagers coming through here to try and deal with all this stuff. Where to next is the big question. Mosca sneaking in. Going to try and take down the wooden wall. He's going through Dionysus himself. We did see something similar to this position in the last game, but in this game, Mosca is looking like he's actually nearly 20 villages in front here. So that's kind of a gigantic advantage for him. Whereas in the last game, what Chemo did was he went 2 town center into the heroic age and then got all the upgrades, which did put Mosca considerably behind on income. I didn't actually check that in the post game. I should have. Maybe we'll go back afterwards and speed through the game and just see. But anyways, a very, very different situation in this game than last game. I think Mosca's going to be able to get all his upgrades in, and he's going to have a lot better chance instead of fighting iron against iron with like naked units. He should be able to get some stuff through. As Mosca now trying to break through the earth wall on the front. All the upgrades coming in classic Chemo fashion. It's actually so wild to think about this. 15-15. You get 30% wood increase by getting to the heroic age. And getting both these techs. Obviously, they're expensive. Well, at least the bow sword is expensive. Anyways, the army comes through. Looks like a bit of a catch out here. This is a really big raid now for Mosca, or a good engagement for Mosca, is Chemo going to be retreating all the way back. However, the Tao Wu coming through bashes everyone out, as it does actually dodge that that snare for a little bit, as Mosca here, he could dive on that machine workshop. It's not a great building to be forest protectioning, as the town center in the middle here now under a lot of pressure. Chemo not going to be able to hold this one. He's at 122 population. He's been completely caught out at the moment. Resources in the bank up the wazoo, as Mosca does manage to hit this timing beautifully, and the town center for Chemo will fall. Meanwhile, Peltast also on the way as the Centaur getting pulled back, getting that damage in. He's got to be careful with those Centaur yet again. However, he does have some great answers now for what Chemo's got. And Chemo, Hoplite, Peltast, how do you beat that is the big question. The Pioneers to come through. More Peltasts trying to snipe down those Kira units from afar. They're not upgraded just yet. Bronze getting dropped down. 195 to 205 population here. And he says, I don't care about anything. Let me just take your machine workshop down, snare or not. I don't mind. Clean up that forest protection, and now we can continue to break through as the ballet is getting planted all over the place. Chemo's food income is through the roof at the moment. Wait, what was that? Is he getting He's getting so much food income. Anyways, a huge amount of food as the ballets will go down. The villages are falling here as well, as Chemo's villager count dropping, not able to get to 100 just yet. As the hoplites trying to finish off those light horse cavalry and everything else, the Peltas popping forward to try and take out the back Chuko Nuke here. As the hoplites moving around, going to clean up the ballet. And where to next is the big question. A fortress up for Mosca. He can make it move over and try and grab this town center as well, but the more sensible option here is to just get that Mythic Age, and he's choosing Artemis again. I do think that the prospect of Hephaestus does appeal to me just a little bit in this matchup over Artemis, just on the fact that the Earthquake's not going to be able to kill off a fortified town center with the boosted Nu Wa stuff, but nonetheless. And you also get a huge amount more economy, try and deal with all the economy which the Nu Wa is putting in onto you. But anyways, town center coming up. Mosca has lost a whole bunch of units here, trying to break through on this spot. But so too is Chemo. As Chemo has managed to click up through Gong Gong finally here. Apparently, Nu Wa's buildings get stronger for the amount of favor they've gained. Apparently. Wait, we can just double check this. Never trust Twitch chat. Gods or Spice. Building hit points plus 10%, building hit points plus 20%, building hit points plus 30%. So they do. So at this point, it's probably at 10 or 20%, I guess. Actually, you can check. How much do the villages cost? 20. Yeah, so they're not quite at 10 food, so it's going to be 20% extra building hit points. Nonetheless, Petropolis now coming through for Mosca as he's trying to crack this position. At the moment here, It does look like Chemo is pretty far behind. And in order to bring himself back in, he's trying to pump up all these buildings and slow down any sort of push that's going to be coming through. But being down 4 to 2 town centers against 100 population, Mosca's probably going to think about starting a trade route as well in this beautifully walled off corner of the map. Up on this top position, the villagers and hoplites coming in, trying to take out the villages of peasants of Chemo and the Quaofu. Trying to take out this ballet a little bit too slow here. But nonetheless, so many hoplites up on this top spot to get the damage done. That White Horse Cavalry is getting so much damage. Chemo with a great villager turnarounds here. Managed to clean up all of Mosca's villages, losing 8 there. But nonetheless, I think the ballet is going to be living for the moment. As Mosca has to make a decision. Does he send everyone over onto this right side, or does he continue to push onto this left side? Looks like he's going for the right position here to try and take this out. Now there are still gold mines at the top here, so I mean Chemo's still got a little bit of play here as the Chimera gets stolen away. Great Flood getting dropped down. Not really a whole lot of units here. I don't know what Chemo's thinking. This is not going to do much damage at all. A little bit of tickle damage onto the buildings, but that's about it. As the ballet on the top side going down. The heroes over here ignoring that Qinglong. Going to be able to take it down now, but Chemo is noticing. He's going to be retreating back. Taking down that silo is going to be beautiful there as well. Controlling this position now with a fortress to get as many gold mines as he possibly can. As much of the map as he possibly can. And now you have to ask the question, is it simple enough for Mosca to just get full population and then be in an unlosable position? Is that what he's going for? He can just pull back and wait. If Chemo wants to charge in and fight underneath the fortress, you say, have at it, no problems. As the Earthquake getting dropped into the main base. This did live with 80 HP or something before. Oh, it goes down. No, I look like no Masons. No fortified town centers there for Chemo. A little bit slow on that one. It's Mosca building up this army. I'm still a little bit surprised to see the Toxotes. Like, the Toxotes don't beat out Shuko Nu per population in damage. In fact, they've got... Yeah, I don't think they beat them out at all. Even at fully... maybe at fully upgraded? I'm not sure. I don't think they do. These guys doing 15.4 damage per second, not fully upgraded, versus these guys doing 9.5 damage per second. So you do really want to just go for Peltast, is my guess. But even so, having the Toxotes here to try and take out those Qinglong is a nice little bonus here. So having this poison arrows does make a lot of sense to help take out the flying Deuterinos. Because every shot is an extra 1.5 damage, which is a decent amount to kill the big beasts over time. But then again, you get the same thing from the Peltas with more range. And Mosca here losing yet again more stuff as we do have a little cheeky side build coming through here. These Quaofu built this so quick. Oh my god, it's already completed. Oof. But the villagers will go down. Chemo gonna lose this position. And the big thing right now is, with Chemo, this is the last gold mine that he's got. Losing all these villagers, losing this ballet, not being able to get onto this gold mine. Absolutely gigantic here. Wait, they have do they have more HP? Do they? 88 versus 108. I can't do that math. That looks close to me. Maybe you're right. Maybe Toxotes is completely fine. Anyways. Mosca's still trying to charge through onto this position, taking out the Qinglong here. Does manage to do so. More heroes coming back in as the Tiger Cavalry Chuko Nu army that we saw from last game coming in yet again for Chemo. And it's looking mightily powerful here. Upgrade-wise, this is not a full iron upgraded Tiger Cavalry, but still managing to break through this composition of Mosca. But he has lost out on a bunch of these units now going after the ballet, not in the fight. As he's going to have to pull back, repopulate out an army here. As the hoplites getting pushed back, and it looks like Chemo might actually be able to work his magic here. But he's got a timer. He's on a timer here. 1,000 gold left. No other gold mines on the map. Taking out this town center is actually, I don't think, that important. He needs to push up onto this right corner here, grab this gold mine, or something else, as we see ceasefire to come through. Upgrades on the way. Iron shields here for Mosca is going to be a big, big help. That's a Petropoli rolling in. Sniping down a temple could be nice. There is the option of using another bronze here for Mosca. If he gets full pop here, it will be a nice way to take a fight. Oop. A nice little bait out from that stun as the bronze does get dropped down. Chemo has to retreat back. He does not have the resources to rebuild this army, but he's going to be taking this fight here because he almost has to. As Mosca seems to have been able to break through, and now with the Petropolis rolling in, this means the ballet is going to be under a lot of pressure, a lot of siege to come in. Those Qinglong continuing to be oppressive in the biggest way possible. But Mosca, with this bronze, has managed to limit at least a little bit of population here as he now pulls back. More hoplites on the way for the time being here as the Mosca fortified town center now set ablaze. There's one dragon down, two dragons down. Mosca is basically full Toxotes for the moment as he pops in underneath the dragon. Look at the damage coming in now. But all of his Toxotes get absolutely melted by those champion Tiger Cavalry, as if they don't do enough damage already at 17.9 base. You then say, have an extra 1.5. Have an extra 1.5. Yeah, I think it actually might be a decent idea to make Prodromus here. Unironically. Especially when you've got Thracian horses and Spirited Charge available. But now the Axe card to come through. Chemo's still managing to make some stuff happen. He has started the trade. Look at where he's got the markets. Look at where he's got the markets. Oof. I guess the Chuko Nu would melt the Prodromus. But if you're going Peltas Prodromus, you kill off the Chuko Nu, you kill off the Tiger Cavalry, and you force out something different. But the town center falls. I don't know. I don't know any better than anyone else. I'm big noob. I'm a proud noob, and I'm going to admit it at the moment. But in this moment here, Chemo does decide the game is lost. He has no gold remaining. Mosca's map control. This is something that I don't think I can praise him enough for. This is something he does so absurdly well every single game. Has literally every gold mine on the map in his grasp, and Chemo has to tap out. as is always the case with these sort of defensive civs like Egyptian, like China. China is effectively Egyptian 2.0, but on steroids. The way to kill them off is to get the gold staff, and in this way, I guess, a bit of a war of attrition. And he managed to find the dub. So 1 win here for Chemo, 1 win for Mosca. That's all we're going to have in this matchup for the moment. But a very, very entertaining series. And I think we all learned a bit about this matchup a little bit and all the other good stuff. I really liked in this game that how much he baited Chemo, like in throwing the stable down and Chemo scouting it, and then Chemo going 1 town center at the start. This completely flipped the script here in this game and gave Mosca a huge advantage with the town centers. Nonetheless, well played here for Mosca. Well played also for Chemo. And we'll see you guys in the next one.